Now, I want to ask you, have you heard the one about the rabbi, the imam, and the reverend? Really, it's no joke. I'm the rabbi, this is the reverend, and this is the imam. And the three of us have been close friends for almost 20 years. We are known in Orlando, Florida as the Three Wise Guys. No joke. In fact, our public radio show in Orlando has over 30,000 listeners, and we call it Friends Talking Faith with the Three Wise Guys. And what some of our 30,000 listeners say are very disturbing to us, especially the things that they say about Muslims. When I hear their vitriolic words, when I listen to their venomous ideas, when I see leaders turning ignorance and fear into a platform of cruelty, it sounds very familiar as a rabbi to my Jewish ears. But past the noise of these cruel intentions, I also hear something from my tradition. I hear the words from the 19th chapter of the book of Leviticus, where it says, "Do not stand idle while your neighbor bleeds." I am saddened that my American Muslim brothers and sisters are bleeding here in America by cutting words that are piercing their hearts. American Muslims are bleeding in America because the impaling of their sacred text and tradition. American Muslims in America are bleeding because their holy places are being profaned and lanced. And American Muslim friends and brothers and sisters are bleeding because they are being skewed as scapegoats here in America. And I want to say, as a rabbi and as a Jew, that the moral imperative, the religious responsibility, the American duty is clear. None of us as Americans, and I say this as a Jewish American, we will not stand idle while our Muslim neighbors bleed. Whether a Muslim, a Christian, a person of another faith or no faith at all, each of us is part of the American body. And when one part of the body bleeds, the entire body should feel that pain. So when you, my Muslim sisters and brothers, bleed, we all bleed, you are not alone. When you are attacked, we are all attacked in our country, and you are not alone. And when you are defamed and when you are in pain, we feel that defamation and we feel that pain, and you should know that you are not alone. I'm reminded 3 weeks after the death of Elie Wiesel, who was a Holocaust survivor and also a winner of the Nobel Peace Prize, who taught, the opposite of love is not hate, it is indifference. The opposite of faith is not heresy, it is indifference. Indifference, he said, is the epitome of evil. And so as Americans, as a Jewish American, as human beings created in God's image, we cannot, we must not, and we will not stand on the sidelines and be silent. I am with you, my Muslim brothers and sisters, as I am with my good friend, Imam Musri. I stand here with you and with him today. As I am with you, my community is with you, and it has been said in this same spot at the other end of this mall 53 years ago, together, you and I shall overcome. Thank you.
I'm Reverend Brian Fullwider, one of the Three Wise Guys, and they call me Tiny. No, they don't. And if you're going to boo, I want you to boo now, but I did not come to endorse Donald Trump either. So God bless you, someone said. Thank you. Well, we need God's blessing. You know, there's a great story out of the Christian tradition where a lawyer comes up to Jesus and he says, what must I do to inherit the kingdom? And Jesus says, well, what do you read in Scripture? And the lawyer says, well, it says to love God and then to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And Jesus said, yeah, go and do that, and you'll inherit the kingdom. You'll find eternity. And then the lawyer, it says, wanted to justify himself, so he said, well, who's my neighbor? And Jesus tells that great story that we call the Good Samaritan story in Scripture. And it's this wonderful story about a man who is traveling, not such a wonderful part. He gets beat up by a bunch of thieves, and then laying on the side of the road, he's waiting for someone who cares about him. It says that two really religious people came by, super religious, you know, those kind of folks. You met them. They want to get you saved, usually. And these two really religious people came by, and they ignored him. They passed by on the other side. But then someone who was from Samaria came by. And there was a great conflict between the Samaritan and the Jewish community at that time. And so Jesus was making that point, wasn't he? When he asked the lawyer, who do you think was the neighbor, when the Samaritan took the man and took care of him, the lawyer said, well, the one who cared for him. And I came today to be here with my good friend Imam Musri and Rabbi Engel, but with Imam Musri and his community and the hundreds of Muslim families and friends that we know in Central Florida, to say we are neighbors and we are friends. We stand here in this magnificent setting between the symbol of our democracy, the state capitol, the Washington Monument celebrating our founding father, George Washington, and beyond that, Abraham Lincoln, who reminds us that we are called to be a nation united, and who gave himself for that uniting principle, who called us to be neighbors with each other. And so we're here today to say that we love you and that we're with you. And we thank God that you are part of the American family, and we will stand with you always. And we will call Christian sisters and brothers and Jewish sisters and brothers and Buddhist and Baha'i and Sikh and Hindus and every other of our faith traditions to stand together with our Muslim sisters and brothers, because we are here as neighbors and friends to say no to the doctrine of hatred, to say no to the doctrine of division, to say no to politicians who want to tear us apart as a nation, and to say yes to our unity, to say yes to our place as people together in community with each other. We are here to stand together today and always. Beloved, let us love one another. So say a part of the Christian Scriptures. For love is of God, and those who love are born of God and know God. Those that do not love do not know God, for God is love. We are here to say we love you, and we are with you, and we thank God for you. We stand together. Thank you for letting us share in this time together. God bless you.
Thank you, Rabbi Engel, and thank you, Reverend Fullwider, for your support. You're truly great friends and my brothers. We have shared many, many years and many joyful moments and sad moments in the life of our community. One of those was the tragedy on June 12th, which rocked us to the bottom. But because of friendships, because of hard work for many, many years, our communities came together in Orlando, Florida, to tell the world a different story, that when tragedy hits, it unites us, it doesn't divide us. When terrorists attack, we all stand together and show them that that will only increase us of love and harmony and respect for all people. We have worked for many years to build what Dr. King called the beloved community. It doesn't happen by itself. It doesn't happen by chance. It happens by deliberate work from great leaders like the two standing beside me, who have committed their time and their lives and their communities to build a model community for the world. Orlando still stands, even after the tragedy, as one of the best places on earth to live, to raise a family, and to do business. Orlando is a strong community, and we are proud to live there and to call it home. But across this nation, there are many communities yearning for love, yearning for respecting one another. We see those images on the nightly news, and we say, we have work to do. We want to take our message nationally. What works in Orlando so beautifully can work everywhere across this nation. So we call on religious leaders like ourselves. There should be 3 wise guys in every city in this country. There should be religious leaders talking to each other across this nation, regardless of the differences and the deep suspicion. That will only disappear when we start having a conversation, an honest conversation, face to face. Not talking past each other, but talking to each other. The hard work of building peaceful communities is done by true leadership who are willing to put the ego aside and the differences aside and look for the so many commonalities that we share in our faith. It has been a learning journey for the 3 of us. Over the years, we have seen that we actually share so much that often we wonder, where are the differences? Sometimes our listeners say, can't you disagree on something? Well, the more you talk, the more you discover, like a family, that you have so much in common. And that's what we treasure as Americans, that across this nation, neighbors have to speak to neighbors. People have to open these conversations. They are difficult initially, but they will be very fruitful. We invite you to listen to our show to see how we take on very serious and very tough conversations and turn them around so that ordinary people at work and at schools, at hospitals, wherever they are able to start talking to each other as Americans and not look at each other with suspicion and with fear and hate. To end hate and fear and bring an end to violence and terrorism, we have to come together as one human family and as one nation under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.